Hello again. I am here once more to discuss Scream 7. I filmed parts 1, 2, and 3 last night, and I did not plan on making a fourth, but all day today and all night tonight, my brain has just been going crazy thinking about Scream 7, and I realized there's a few more things I wanted to say, surprisingly. I know I talked for over an hour last night, but I was just in my head, and I was like, bro, there's something specifically I wanted to touch up on, clarify. So, I was doing my ranking last night, talking about my favorite films in the franchise and my least favorite, and I said I was confused on where I would put the seventh movie, and I was going back and forth, being like, the fifth, the seventh, because if you know me, you know part five is my least favorite. I still enjoy the movie, but I think it just relies too heavily on nostalgia and references. And so I was like, which one do I like more? Scream 5, Scream 7. I wanted to clarify Scream 5 is obviously the much better movie, and Scream 7 had a lot of great things to offer. And up until the end, I really enjoyed it. But looking at them both as a whole, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe that, like, I said that I was unsure whether or not I like Scream 5 or Scream 7 more. And now, to be fair, I've only seen Scream 7 once so far, but just off of that initial watch and my first impressions, I was like, it should be totally obvious. Scream 5 is the much better movie because it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and everything in the film makes sense. Whereas Scream 7, as soon as the final act came into play and the killers were revealed, everything fell apart, and like even some of the great things in the movie I feel like didn't make sense anymore. And so, like, yeah, Scream 5 might not be perfect, but you know what? It has amazing characters and relationships, and um, yeah, they did go overboard with the nostalgia and relying on that way too much, but at least things made sense. Whereas this, with Scream 7, the ending was just like, well, what about this? And what about that? And like the killer's motives and everything. It was just like, like, like I said a million times, just the ending fell apart and kind of ruined everything. So yeah, just wanted to clarify. Scream 5, much better movie compared to Scream 7. Um, what else did I want to say? Let's see. I didn't really talk too much about the relationship of Sydney and her daughter Tatum, or just Sydney coming back at all. But I feel like there isn't too much to say that I didn't say last night. Like, Sydney has basically kept all of her past hidden as much as she could from Tatum. It's not like she purposefully lied to her or anything like that. She just, when Tatum would ask, hey, can I hear about, you in college, or hey, tell me about your friends? Sydney was just like, nah, not right now, maybe another time. But Tatum knew from like her friends, because one of her friends, or one of the people in the movie, is like a true crime enthusiast, and so they're super into Sydney's past. And obviously, you got the stab movies, and the internet's a thing. So like Tatum knows some of what her mom has gone through, but Sydney really doesn't like talking about it, and as a result, they aren't very close. Just Sydney wants to protect her daughter, and so she's very overprotective. And of course, Tatum's like kind of the rebellious teen, but not to the point where it's cringy or doesn't make sense, or she's not like making idiotic decisions. Um, so that's a good thing. And like I said, I really don't have much more to say than that. I don't think there's too much more there to talk about. But I liked the relationship between them. It could have very easily been cringy and like, Mom, get over it. All your friends got killed. So what? That was 30 years ago. And it wasn't. It wasn't that. So I'm just very grateful and thankful about that. Um, Matthew Lillard just said, um, or at least maybe like a few weeks ago, he said he believes Stu could still be alive. Um, and I don't know how to feel about that. like, part of me is like, fuck yeah, yeah, that's what I want to hear, and like, because that's the thing that made me so disappointed with Scream 7 is all these years, the fan theories and just people wanting so bad to believe that Stu could have survived. And then this was just like a slap in the face. Like, oh yeah, you stupid fucking idiot. You thought Stu was alive. Nah, he's not. He was dead then. He's dead now. So having Matthew Lillard come out and be like, no, like, I think he said something like, Scream 7 laid the groundwork, and if anything, he believes it just furthered the theory that Stu is alive. And now I want to believe that. I really do. And that does make me feel a little bit hopeful, but at the same time, this is what I actually think happened. So we know after all the controversy surrounding Scream 7 with the actresses leaving and like different directors coming and going, and there was already the thing with Scream 6 and Nev Campbell not getting paid, so there was all this controversy going on. And so much so that, like I talked about yesterday, people were boycotting the movie, and people still are. And at the like red carpet premiere, there were people like outside trying to boycott the movie. And so the higher ups, whoever is in charge, I don't know if it was like producers or the company executives, I think they were like, bro, we are so fucked right now, and we got to do anything, like do anything we can to get the fandom back on our side, to get people to want to go see this movie. So first, and I mentioned this yesterday, I think they were like, awful offer Nev Campbell any amount of money in the world, just get her to come back because she's the final girl, right? And secondly, though, I think they said, okay, people have wanted Stu to come back for years, but this is where it gets interesting. I think half of the fandom has always been like, Stu's still alive. I want Stu to come back. Oh man, it would be so cool if Stu came back. The other half of the fandom has been like, bro, there's no way he could have survived. No, never bring back Stu. That would ruin things. And so I think with Scream 7, they tried appealing to both of those people. They wanted to please both of those people. So they were like, okay, we're going to have Matthew Lillard come back, and we're going to have this story about Stu possibly being alive. But we're not going to go all the way because we want to please this half of the fan base who thought that that idea was idiotic. I also think they were scared to kind of mess with the original film at all. Like, they don't want people to watch the original. Like, let's say they did have Stu survive, and like maybe they show flashbacks or something. They don't want people to watch the original and be like, oh well, the TV on the head, Stu was still alive, and people might get weird about that thing, view the original differently. So I think, yeah, it was just the people in charge being like, we want to please everyone. And you know what? You can't. You can't please everyone. This movie is proof. I've seen a lot of people, like it has the highest grossing opening box office weekend of any of the films in the franchise, but I don't know how it did after that. Like, I don't know if it did amazing, did poorly, but just with the opening box office alone, that makes me think they're gonna green light Scream 8. I did get like a notification saying like Scream 8 already in the works, and then it was the next day I was like, Scream 8 officially not in the works, so who knows what they're doing. Mostly from fans, though, I've seen negative things. I've seen a lot of like worst film in the franchise. Someone said like, bro, I thought Scream 3 was bad, and I'm rewatching it now, and it looks like a masterpiece compared to Scream 7. Well, you know what? I love Scream 3, but I get where you're coming from. Scream 7 fell apart at the end. It was really good up until then, but you know what? Like I said, if you don't, if you don't have, I'm trying to think how to say this. If you don't land the story properly, then everything else just kind of crumbles, right? And that's unfortunately what happened with this movie, because I was like, so, oh man, this is the best, I'm loving this, it's so great, and then the ending came, and I'm still, like, right now, I'm like, nah, man, nah. No, how could you fail so epically? And again, and I keep just rehashing things I said yesterday. Even if Stu wasn't alive, there was a chance they could have ended this with an awesome ending. But that gets me into my next point. Something that has pissed me off since the fifth movie. They are just rehashing the same thing over and over and over again. They want to take chances, they want to try different things, but they're scared to go all the way. It's like they're too afraid of the fandom. They're too afraid of these fans, which is really ironic considering like part 5 was so much about that, and like that was the killer's reasonings or their motives of the fans who were pissed off with the stab movies. But it's true because they keep recycling the same thing over and over and over and over without getting different, without getting creative, without anything new. And what I mean by this is every movie, the killers are unmasked, they give their monologue, and then it's shoot them in the head, they're dead, end of story, it's over. Here's the ambulance, final girl in the back, happy ending. And I know that that's like a whole thing with slashers in general. They always end, usually, killers get killed or caught at least, and then final girl in the ambulance drive away into the sunset. But man, it's like, look at the franchise, bro. Nearly, if not all, of the movies end with killer reveal, monologue, killer killed, happy ending. And I'm just so over it, bro. Like, yes, VI and 7 now have switched things up a tiny bit by having 3 killers. You know, it's usually always 2, except for part 3, which was just 1 killer, which I really liked that. But I'm just so sick of it, bro. Like, cause like, okay, they do Scream 8. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? 2 killers, all 3 this time, and what happens? All get shot in the head, and it's happy ending, and it's over. And on to the next one, and so on and so forth. You have to do something different, bro. You have to, and I'm up to the point where I'm like, either try something new and different, or let the franchise rest in peace, bro. And if you're gonna use the excuse of like you don't want to disrespect Wes Craven's memory, you don't want to go too far because what would he have thought? You know what? I just saw recently, read an old article that Wes Craven said he would never ever ever kill off Gale, Sidney, or Dewey. You remember Scream 5? You remember who got killed off? It was Dewey. And that movie was all about the people in charge. Their whole reasoning for doing a requel was because they wanted to respect Wes Craven. They wanted to pay homage to his legacy. And that's why they even have a character in Scream 5 named Wes, who then gets killed by Ghostface, and then they have a party where they're all like, cheers to Wes, bro. Um, Honestly, I think they were most likely just giving that reasoning um, to hide the fact that they were doing a requel because requels are what's popular now. It's what makes money. Halloween did it. Halloween made a bunch of money. I could be wrong. I mean, with the fifth movie, at least, I could be wrong. From that point on, doing Scream VI, doing Scream 7, it had nothing to do with Wes's legacy, bro. It was, okay, we did Scream 5, it made a lot of money. Let's do another one. And Scream 6, Scream VI, I mentioned it is in my top 3. It's probably in my top 2 favorite Screams in the franchise. But I was just thinking about how great VI was because I was looking at part 7 and I was like, okay, VI, like it was already up here. It's up here now because that was another one that was incredible. Beginning, middle, end. I think there is probably not one thing I could say about VI that I did not like. It had the awesome New York setting. It had some of the most brutal kills of the entire franchise. It had great characters, great character development. The whole shrine to Ghostface. It had Easter eggs and references, but it wasn't like, hey, we're saying that thing that they said in the first movie. Like, VI was incredible through and through. And that ending, I saw someone say, they posted a screenshot of the ending of VI with the Ghostface mask on the ground, and someone said, this is where the franchise should have ended. And I can't say that they're entirely wrong. Now, look, though. Yesterday, I said over and over again how much I loved Scream 7 up until the ending. And I don't want it to sound like all of a sudden, oh, I'm a hater and I think it's the worst movie ever. It's just the more I think about the ending, like I said, it kind of taints the rest of the movie. It kind of is like, wait, the reason that, like, yeah, it had an awesome beginning. The people at Stumacher's house, and it had brutal kills. But then it's like, okay, it's all building up to Ghostface's identity getting revealed, and when the identity gets revealed, it's like, wait, why did you burn down Stu's house? And what's your reasoning for killing all these people? It all just falls apart. So yeah, I loved Scream 7 up until the last 20 minutes. It had great kills, it had an awesome setting. I liked the relationship between Sydney and her daughter, and it was awesome seeing Neve Campbell come back. But you botched it in the end, and I'm like, is there anywhere to go from here, bro? Like, can you really come back after that? I'm not saying it's impossible to make a good movie. I'm just saying, what's the next movie going to be about? You're going to have Tatum go to college. Never done that before. You're going to have a new set of characters. Never done that before. You're going to have Sidney Prescott come back again. You never done that before. It's getting to the Jamie Lee Curtis effect of the Halloween franchise where it's like, this is cool until it's not. How many times can you keep doing the same thing until people are like, bro, this is old news. Like, I'm the first time it was great. The second time it was still awesome. The third time I'm like, okay, it's getting old. And the fourth time it's like, I don't give a fuck anymore, bro. So if you do Scream 8, you gotta do something drastically different. You gotta take chances. You gotta make mistakes. And you gotta get messy like Miss fucking Frizzle, bro. Magic School Bus up in this bitch. For real though, you gotta do that. I know the Magic School Bus metaphor was silly, but you know what I would love? I would love, for one, if there's more than three killers, like at least do more than, like, either go back like Roman, have one killer, or don't even just do like four killers, just take it up a notch. Remember there was the whole rumor with Scream VI that it was going to be the cult of Ghostface, because there were pictures of the whole shrine of Ghostface, and there were all like the 7 costumes of all the ghost faces, and people thought like, okay, this is Ghostface's lair, and we're gonna have a plethora of killers, ghost faces in this movie. Do that, bro. How cool would that be? To where it's not just as easy as like, boom, shoot one in the head, and boom, slit the other one's throat, and it's over. To have it be like, yeah, we killed 3, and there's still all those other ones out there. Or the one thing that I find so annoying is every movie we're introduced to a new set of characters, and every movie it's one of the new characters. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I just met this character, no matter what their motive is, it's like, how much attachment can I have to them? And I know you can be like, okay, but what about parts 1, 2, 3, and 4? But I feel like it's different now that this is a legacy sequel, and it's all about connecting the past to the present. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to have a killer reveal and it's like, oh my gosh, it's that character from part three, and they're pissed off about something that happened in part three, and who could you bring back? I don't know, because every side character usually gets killed in each movie. But even if it was something lame like, oh my gosh, Sydney's teacher from part two, I think it would be cooler than Sydney's new neighbor for some reason. You know what I mean? Oh man, nobody's watching this, bro. This is all for me because I kept referencing one of my friends in last night's video and being like, hey, I know you're the only one who's gonna watch this. And then today, I messaged them. I was like, hey, I made a video talking about Scream 7. And they were like, cool. I don't have the patience to watch it after I told them it was an hour. Um, if someday you do end up watching this, I'm not dissing you at all. I was just a little surprised, but I get it at the same time. Because my attention span's so bad, almost everything I watch on YouTube, I watch it at like 2x speed. I just wanted to rant a little more about the movie and say it's kind of sad at this point, just the state of the franchise, because it was so cool with Part 5 to be like, this is a franchise that has been going on since the 90s, and they have never retconned anything. They've never done like Halloween H2O, where it's like, yeah, parts 4, 5, and 6 never happened. They've never erased anything. This is continuity that has been going from the 90s. But I feel like we've reached a point where there is so much lore, so many things that have happened, and they're like grasping at straws, coming up with new ideas. And I don't want them to remake, I don't want them to reboot. But if they're not going to take a chance and do something new, let it rest in peace, bro. Let it rest in peace, because parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 were gold. It was the perfect franchise. Then part 5 came, and it was like, okay, like everyone besides me seemed to really like that movie. So I was like, yeah, I didn't love it, but at least other people did. Scream VI came. I was like, bro, best movie since the fourth one. It's incredible. It's one of the best. And then with Scream 7, I was more skeptical than anything and worried, which is kind of goes hand in hand. But like I said, all I cared about was Stu. We knew Matthew Lillard was back. We knew the character of Stu was going to be involved, obviously, somehow. But the whole movie, I was just going, please let it be real. Please let it be real. They bring up AI, deepfakes, and it keeps being, is Stu really alive? Could he be alive? Did he really die? And the whole time I was just, go all the way. Go all the way. Don't have it revealed that it was AI or a deepfake. Go all the way. Have Stu be alive. And no, it was AI. It was a deepfake. Sorry. And okay, killer reveal. It could be something cool still. It could be something cool. Nope. It's just Sydney's neighbor and like two other crazy guys working with her for some reason. Okay. Alrighty then. So yeah, what if they're gonna do a part 8? What's it gonna be? Is it gonna be Tatum in college? Probably. And like Sydney will show up at the end to help her fight. Gail will be there for some reason, because there's a story. And yeah, that will be it. And you know what? The ending, let me spoil the ending of Scream 8 for you. Okay, so we're going to have 2 or 3 killers, right? They're all going to get shot in the head. And then Tatum and Sydney are going to ride off into the sunset together. And that's going to be it. Because that's all this franchise fucking does anymore, bro. That's all they do. I don't know, man. I wish Wes Craven was still here, and not just for the selfish reasons of these movies would be so much better with him. He was an incredible guy, such a talented filmmaker. And you know what? If they I feel like he might actually get involved with another franchise of his, like Nightmare on Elm Street. That would be cool. Wes, Wes Craven, rest in peace. I feel like if he was here, though, he would definitely handle this franchise better than it's being handled right now. I've talked for 25 minutes. This cuts off at 26 minutes, I think. And this is part 4. Will I do a part 6? Or, fucking God, I don't know how to count. I'm an idiot. Will I do a part 5? We'll see. I'm wearing a It Pennywise shirt while talking about Scream. Yesterday I wore a Halloween shirt while talking about Scream. If I do another part, maybe I'll finally wear a Ghostface Scream shirt. But for now, Scream 7 was great until the end. And then everything fell apart, and now it's like probably the bottom, the worst film in the franchise, which pains me to say. But y'all fucked up big. You did. So if you're gonna continue the franchise, do something new, clever, unique, different, anything different. Take a chance, take a risk. And Stu, if you come back for part 8, please be alive. That would be awesome. That would make my millennium. Beetlejuice reference. And that's all for now. See y'all next time. I love Scream. Ghostface is awesome. What's your favorite scary movie, bitch?